Welcome to our monthly mechanical engineering virtual meetup with the topic of the month, data management and collaboration. My name is Anton Fedosiev and I'm the content strategist at Customer Success Organization. I work for Autodesk. And we have three great speakers today, all from Autodesk: Irvin Hayes, Andrew Shaw, and Brian Shannon. We'll run through introduction a little bit later, but let me remind you about some webinar basics. So the lines are muted to reduce background noise, and we are recording the session. It will be available on Customer Success Hub in the Meetup section. And if you have a question, please use question box at any time during the presentation. This is live, so we're here to talk and answer your questions. So the agenda will be, we'll start from this quick introduction, then continue to Irvin's presentation about what's new and what's coming in Vault. Then we'll discuss Vault-based collaboration with Andrew and a really great learning path that he created. And then Brian Shannon will finish with his presentation of collaboration in the cloud with Fusion Team and the learning path and e-learning courses that he created, and they're available to everyone. So what is Mechanical Engineering Meetup? This is more like conversational format when we talk about the solutions already available to you and how they're interconnected between each other, share best practices, and also build the community of mechanical engineers catch up on monthly basis. And these are happening every second Thursday of each month. So you can learn more and register by the link that I will drop in the chat window. We have more of these, and for mechanical engineers, generative design is probably the topic that will be mostly relevant as well. So we have these every month as well, and I will share the link. And if we look broadly at other personas, we kind of have one webinar series for each profession in CAD industry. So check them out if you're interested. I will also drop the links. And with that, I'd like to introduce Irvin Hayes. If you don't know him, he will talk about him in a moment, but he's going to cover what's new and what's coming next with Vault. And with that, Irvin, it's all yours. Let me give the control to you.
All right. Let me share my screen here. All right, thank you very much, and welcome again, everyone. My name is Irvin Hayes Jr. I am a product manager here at Autodesk on the Vault product line, and I'm going to be taking you quickly through the Vault, what's new and what's coming next in the future. First thing I will have to tell you is that I'm going to make some statements about possibly some future developments, but what you're going to hear is not an actual promise that we're going to deliver on those things, because things may change. So please do not make any purchasing decisions based on what you're about to see. So the first thing is, what is Vault? I mean, you have to understand what Vault is if you're new to Vault or you don't currently use Vault. Vault is a data management software here at Autodesk, and we have integrations into over 30 of the Autodesk design applications, as well as third-party applications. And some of these you might recognize already of products you may use, or at least you are aware of. Vault provides a powerful revisioning and access control capabilities and enables you to share product data to improve engineering cycle time and minimize manufacturing errors. So one of the new things that has come out just recently is the Vault mobile application. Vault Mobile allows you or gives you the flexibility to access and work with your Vault design data and engineering data on your mobile device from any location. It's easy to stay up to date with your projects and collaborate with your team when you're away from your desktop computer. And with the Vault mobile app, you can get your design data on the shop floor, on site, or when you're meeting with a customer. The mobile application currently is in the iOS version, or supports the iOS version 12 and higher. It will connect to the Vault Professional versions 2019, 2020, and 2021 servers. We've also investigated developing a Vault mobile application for Android operating systems. So if you're interested in those, please let me know and make sure you're part of our feedback community, and I can get you in on some testing of that's going on right now, as a matter of fact, for the Android operating systems and Android devices. Vault Mobile is available already today in the Apple Store as what we're calling a release preview. The release preview of the Vault mobile app is an early preview of the application with all features currently available without requiring a Vault license or a subscription. When the product is commercially released, the Vault Professional or a Vault Office subscription will be required to use the application. So again, real quick, if you have a mobile device or you have your Apple device available for you right now, you can scan the on-screen QR code and download the app today and start using it if you have a Vault Professional server to connect to. If you don't have a Vault Professional server to connect to, let me know. I will actually give you a URL or a Vault server that I have placed in the cloud so you can connect to it if you want to experiment with the Vault mobile app as well. Now, I did an earlier presentation on Vault Mobile in detail. If you're interested in seeing that, here's the recorded webinar URL. So you can actually see more details of what's going on in that application if you're not ready to use it. So let's take a look at what's coming in the future with the application. When we're developing, and we're changing or planning for new future development, we're looking at a new modern experience. So we're looking for something forward-looking and purpose-built and provides a rich persona-based experience, delivers interactive experiences, and delivers value immediately for all of the users. So here's some looks at a few different things here. Within Inventor, we're looking at adding some features, which is a new feature called the dockable panel for Vault information. So you see at the bottom of this image, you now have or will have access to a file that you selected in the Inventor model. You'll be able to see the history, the uses, the where used information, current change orders that are attached to that particular object, and the bill of materials if those exist inside of Vault Professional. Additional workflows like commands such as assign an item, copy design, edit properties, and a lot more in the future where you want to add to the in-CAD experience for Inventor so that you don't have to actually get out of so you don't have to get out of Inventor and go to the Vault client to do all of that work. You can stay right in Inventor to do a lot of more work right there as you're working with the model. Let's talk about a save search improvement. So we know that you can save search, but they are not very well organized currently in the product today. And when you actually save a search in the future, we're making it more flexible for you to organize all your save search by adding groups and other things to help you, again, organize save searches that you may have completed or added. From an admin experience, we are enhancing the user and group management. One of the things that we're doing is we're actually combining the user and group tabs into one dialog, so you don't have to hop out of user management and jumping into group management. We are also adding an ability to display friendly names, meaning if you're an Active Directory integration user and you know that you use, for instance, I use my first name or my last name and first initial of my last name as my Active Directory login. That's what usually is displayed inside of Vault as the user. Now, or pretty soon, you'll be able to change that to a friendly name and put in a person's full name so they're easily identifiable, especially for those who use coded login names for larger environments. We're looking at adding user and group attributes, meaning I can actually add more information like user-defined properties on a file. Now you can add group attributes or user attributes to a user account or a group account inside of Vault. We're also adding the ability to use Autodesk ID authentication, much like integrating Windows authentication, but now an Autodesk ID authentication can be used to log into Vault. So at least some of the things that are coming in the future there. Next is the connected workflow. Here, we're trying to leverage some of the best current emerging platforms to enhance our Vault user experience. Trying to move data more efficiently through the workflows and then enabling collaboration without any boundaries. So let's talk about that for a minute. So Inventor is continuing moving along with adding enhancements to its connectivity or interoperability with Revit and some of the other Autodesk products. And as Inventor continues to move forward with these types of abilities and workflows, Vault will follow along to make sure that we integrate and work with those workflows very easily. So one of the recent ones is Inventor's integration with Revit. They're doing some more things on that side. And again, as they continue to work on workflows between Inventor and Revit, we will make sure that we follow along so that those workflows work seamlessly with the Vault environment. Another thing that's coming in the future is what we're calling Autodesk Vault Cloud Connect. So this is what you're looking at as a typical environment. Your firewall or your Vault server is behind your firewall. All of your users inside of the network can connect to Vault very easily. But what about those users outside of the firewall, or in our circumstance today where a lot of users are working from home? You may not be connected to VPN and so on and so forth, or you know, VPN connectivity is always a little iffy. What we're doing is we're adding this Vault Cloud Connect utility in our Forge platform. The purpose of this particular utility is to give users outside of the firewall an easier way to access their data that's on-premise within the firewall in a secure fashion. So those users that are working from home, whether they're using the Vault client, the Vault browser, or Vault mobile, they can connect to our Vault Connect or Vault Cloud Connect platform, which gives you then a secure connection to the on-premise Vault without needing VPN, without needing to open up particular firewall ports that are common, like port 80 or port 443. So again, it's a secure connection that only your users would know about, and it goes through our Forge connection or our Forge platform using Vault Cloud Connect straight to your on-premise Vault. The other capabilities that this allows is for any type of other Forge automation services that might be up there that you might be taking advantage of or you want to take advantage of with your data in Vault. So once you've designed something in Forge automation, maybe you're doing some type of design automation in it with Inventor or AutoCAD or whatever whatever the case may be on a Forge platform, but you need the data coming from Vault. You can now connect that through the Vault Cloud Connect through Forge to get to access to your data on the Vault on-premise. Another option then would be to connect third-party applications a little bit easier using this platform as well. So if you're integrated with SAP or maybe you're doing something different with BIM, more enhanced than what we're doing today, you can do this then again with a secure connection to your Vault server on-premise. Then a few other things here. We're looking at some other insightful information and giving our administrators as well as users some other value that's not currently in Vault. One of those things here you've probably seen in the past is duplicate search and its analytics. We're continuing to improve in that area and wanting to enhance that area. So therefore, we're going to continue improving that to provide more value with reports and more analytics to help the user or CAD administrator to work with Vault and all of the data within Vault. That's a brief highlight of everything that we're doing in the application and in the future. If you want to be a part of that, and your feedback really is very helpful in navigating our future development. If you're in our feedback community, you're probably already aware of a lot of the things that's going on. If you're not, please join. Again, your feedback early before we develop a new feature is very important so that we're developing the feature in a manner that addresses our users' need at a broad scale instead of only our usual users that connect to the feedback community. So here's the URL. Please join in. Let us know what else you need. So with that, I am done. And Anton, do you want to take it back over here?
Yeah, just before we go, Irvin, we've got a couple of questions, and a
Sure.
huge thanks for presenting what's new and what's coming. So the question is about saved searches. Will it be possible to, or is it possible to push saved searches to other users' machines?
We are looking at other ways of actually current development is the answer is no. It's not pushed, it's not placed into the current roadmap as of yet. However, we do have in our roadmap a feature where an administrator can push a lot of different Vault configurations down to the users. So that saved searches would also be part of that particular feature. So while we don't have that ability yet, we do have that on our roadmap and want to look at in the future. I do see the other questions. Do you want me to go through these real quick? I can do that if you have time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, all right. So let's look at the very first questions. Why would you not put it on Android? Actually, as I mentioned, we are putting it on Android. So if you want to actually be, if you're an Android user, I'm an Android user. I actually am not an Apple user. But if you want to test the Android version, please join the feedback community with the URL that I'm presenting right now. The next one, any word on broader export capabilities from Vault? As of right now, we do not have any other planned features for export. Can you mass export files from Vault? There's probably multiple different ways, but not built in very easily that you can mass export that information. That'd be a different question, probably for a later date. Let's see, the next question, can a user export BOM structure out of Vault, for example, into an Excel format? Yes, you should be able to do that today in the product. Are duplicates being merged via internal functions inside of Vault? No, they're not being merged. That's a manual process that you'd have to do as an administrator. We will alert you of the duplicate, but we don't know which file you want to use as the original, so that wouldn't be something you'd want us to do automatically. As long as it's on the roadmap, that's great. Okay, is it Autodesk? No, that URL is correct. I know it looks weird, but the URL in there is the correct. It's like a short URL. So make sure it is also case sensitive. So make sure you use the capital V and capital F.
Yeah, and I dropped the links in the chat, so they're available in the chat for everyone. Just check out the chat tab. And with that, I think that we're done with the questions for Vault. And please keep asking. Irvin is still staying in the call, so he will type the answers as we go. So if you have any other questions, please keep them coming. But I would like to introduce our next speaker, Andrew Shaw. And Andrew, it's the stage is yours. Okay, and Andrew will talk about Vault-based calibration. Andrew, we can see your slides.
Excellent, thank you very much. So yes, my name is Andrew Shaw. I'm a designated support specialist for Autodesk. I support mainly PDM and PLM applications, and I've been at Autodesk for about close to 9 years now. So what we'll be talking about today is a learning path that we developed around Vault-based collaboration. And basically this learning path is made out of 8 videos that present the various ways Vault can help you collaborate with internal, external, and non-CAD users. I've put QR codes for the links to both Autodesk Customer Success Learning Hub and the YouTube channel. I will also put in the chat the links later on while Brian is presenting, so that you can find those videos easily. So I'm just going to go through the 8 episodes and give you a brief overview of each episode, and then it will be up to you to go to either the Customer Success Learning Hub or the Autodesk User YouTube channel to view them. So episode 1 is around the basic concepts of product data management. And it just shows how Autodesk Vault family of products is a comprehensive PDM solution that allows you and your engineers to better manage your projects, product, and design data tracking during the entire development lifecycle. And as you can see, there's various topics that are covered in that video. All videos are between 4 and 11 minutes, so they're fairly short videos, and they give you a good overview of the collaboration capabilities of Vault. The second episode it provides you an overview of the various editions of Vault, so Basic, Workgroup, Professional, and Vault Office, and their relevant functionalities. If you watch this episode, it should give you a good idea of which edition would be best for your needs and for your operational workflows. Then episode 3 focuses on the cloud collaboration. So through 2 of the functionalities that Vault has to collaborate with the cloud, which are the shared views, which simplify the sharing of visual representation of your models, and the project sync, which is a feature that provides file and folder synchronization between Vault and BIM 360 Docs or Fusion Team hubs. Then episode 4, so you could be surprised that the job processor is talked about in a collaboration-based discussion, but I think the job processor, as it helps you to delegate and automate tasks, it facilitates the collaboration workflows and improves them. So it is an integral part of the collaboration process, and it's a fairly interesting aspect that that adds a lot of value to using Vault. Then episode 5 focuses on what is probably the main functionality of a data management and document management system, which is the use of versions, revisions, lifecycle, and categories, which are an integral part of the collaboration workflow. Episode 6, the longest episode. So this one talks about how to include non-CAD users in your collaboration workflows, and also how to access the Vault server through a web browser, whether it's with the Vault Fin client or the Vault Office client. And it shows you the common challenges of the data management and how flexible the Vault solution is to collaborate outside of the constraints of your local network. Vault episode 7 shows how you would use the Vault Pack and Go feature to hand off project data to someone else, and if a user has access to a Vault, how you can email the user a link to the file instead of just sending the entire file. So those are 2 fairly standard functionalities, but they're really interesting in terms of collaboration. And there's a video that shows how easy it is to use the Pack and Go functionality and how powerful that functionality is within the Vault. And finally, episode 8 focuses on expanding Vault to Autodesk's PLM solution, which is Fusion Lifecycle. So it includes a video which also shows you how a customer has integrated PDM with PLM to avoid errors in product design through streamlined version control and enhanced workflows. So it's a very interesting extension of the capabilities of the PDM solution that we have brought to you. And that is it for me.
Excellent, Andrew. Thank you so much for sharing the episodes. Again, this is more like a preview and the announcement of the availability of the content. And we apologize for a little bit of delay with the slides, but they're just catching up. So this content is available for you to consume on demand when it works for you. So you can use Autodesk ID, your existing Autodesk ID, to access all of them. So there is no separate registrations required. They're free. And in the end of each of the courses that Andrew demonstrated, you'll get a certificate of completion. So you'll be able to claim the development hours as needed in the courseware. And I dropped the link in the chat. So hopefully you are able to access it. If not, please drop a comment. If you don't see it, I will post it again. And with that, I would like to proceed to Brian's presentation. And again, we are live, so please keep the questions coming.
All right, thank you. I'm going to share out my screen. All right, thanks everybody. My name is Brian Shannon, and I am a PLM and PDM readiness program manager. So today I'm going to talk about design collaboration with Fusion Team. By the way, Anton, if you would put the link in the chat window, there are 2 episodes, just like you saw from Andrew. There's 2 episodes on getting going with Fusion Team and how to set up Inventor, Desktop Connector. So I'm going to run through the slides, but there's already a tutorial that you can go through. So let's talk about Fusion Team. Fusion Team provides data management, but not to the level that you have with Vault, but data management for product and design and manufacturing teams in the cloud. And the distinction about Fusion Team, say, versus Vault is this is cloud-based, so there's no server, there's anything like that to configure, but it doesn't have the searching and the depth and the intelligence that Vault does. But the 2 actually work together very well. They complement one another. Vault is ideal for all of your inventor and your design work. Fusion Team is actually the PDM that's on the back of Fusion 360. And it's also great for those who are working beyond the firewall, those who are working, those might be your suppliers and designers and other people. But let's talk about what you get with Fusion Team. Since it runs in a variety of different browsers, viewing, installation, everything is all done on the browser side. You can add other people into it. You can add, you can have different projects and groups, and you can have a little bit of a security model within Fusion Team when you work. Now, the best part is, depending on who you are in the audience, if you're a CAD manager or the contract holder, you may already have access to this. This is a part of, as I mentioned, Fusion 360. It's also a part of Product Design and Manufacturing Collection, or what we call PDMC. You may already have this. So if you are an end user, talk to your manager. If you're a CAD manager, if you're the person in charge of licenses and rollouts, have a look at manage.autodesk.com. You may already have this. You can also buy seats of this in individual licenses, but I'm just letting you know, you might be delighted to learn that you already have this. So a little bit of terminology. So where Vault has, you have your server and you have different sites. In Fusion Team, what we call this, we call it a hub. That would be a site or a central location for your company. And it's a central workplace for projects. This is recommended to have a hub for an organization and not a hub for an individual user. The idea here is you collaborate up in the cloud. So it's usually the contract owner or the manager, the admin, somebody has this already. And as I said, you may already have it or have entitlement to it. After this call, please take a look. Setting it up is a relatively easy process through the manage.autodesk.com portal. So within Fusion Team, we have top level folders, and these are known as projects. We'll talk about these coming up, but projects are different areas, think different silos where you can do work. And there are permissions per project. There's hub level permissions and permissions per the project. And once you're in a project, you can see everything within the project all the way down. So just giving an analogy inside of Vault, Vault Workgroup and Vault Pro, we also have projects. And the idea there is the project folder is it has a life of its own. It has its own permissions, and those cascade down. The same idea is there inside of Fusion Team. These also display out in Windows Explorer. So if you're using a Windows machine, you can set up a utility called the desktop connector to have your Windows machine emulate what's up in the cloud. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So administration of Fusion Team. If you have the level of permissions necessary for it, you can go in and see when you log in, there's an area where you can see all of the different projects. And a project could mean anything. If you are a contract worker, if you're doing side jobs, if you're doing work for people, you might have different projects, and that would be the different companies that you do design work for. Or if you are an OEM, you might have different projects for other designers on the outside. So however you want to use it, the idea is you should have, you have the ability to have projects. There's a couple of different types, and you can view all of the projects from the helm of the administrative view. You have the ability to archive, and that means you're just going to put them away. You're going to take them offline. Archive is like a delete, but the information is there. There is also a hard delete where it removes it. But sometimes archive, you just want to take it offline, put it away, retire it for a while, but it's always something that's there. Now, one of the key parts of this, in order to work with your design data, if you're going to be using Inventor or AutoCAD or anything else inside of the collection, we have a utility called the desktop connector. That is something that is available when you go into your Fusion Team Hub, you start to set things up, you'll see a link to it, and I have that in a screen capture. But this is a critical piece. The desktop connector, the best analogy that I can draw to this is if you've used Box and Dropbox or OneDrive, you know that's a utility that watches a location in Windows Explorer and synchronizes it with somewhere up in the cloud. Think that, but so much better, because it understands not only the synchronization, it understands the file relationships. The problem with Box and Dropbox and OneDrive, it doesn't understand Inventor dependencies. It doesn't understand SolidWorks. It doesn't understand AutoCAD and XREFs and all of those file dependencies and idiosyncrasies of those. This does. Desktop Connector actually understands those file formats and more. It understands Civil 3D, for instance, and a host of other Autodesk solutions, which means you'll never lose a file. You'll never go to and share work with somebody else and they'll forget a file. And you know what happens in Inventor when you miss one file, right? You get the resolve link dialog box. Properly set up, you can actually work with this in the cloud with Inventor on your machine and be able to synchronize. Also of note, this works with BIM 360 as well. So if you have if you're doing design work and you have a BIM 360 site, maybe a Fusion Team site, you can use this desktop connector to synchronize, and essentially all you're doing is working with your machine. You're working with CAD application, Windows Explorer, and you let this desktop connector synchronize and do the work for you. So where to find it? When you log into Fusion Team, you go over to your avatar, you click on it, and down at the bottom, you'll see Install Desktop Connector. Now, this isn't just for the admins. This is for anybody that you invite to the site. So if you want to invite other collaborators, maybe somebody is going to be doing the design and the layout for you. Maybe somebody's going to be doing machining or analysis work on the files that you put up there. You can use the Desktop Connector, and then you can also let other people on the other side use Desktop Connector, download it, log in with your Autodesk ID, and it takes on a life of its own. So you can also go in within Windows Explorer if you're not seeing it, and there's a little tray. This will actually appear down in your tray, and you can right-click in there. There's a help system in there. You can run diagnostics. You can refresh the drives, which is just like giving it a nudge to wake up and refresh everything. And then it actually shows up just like a drive thing. It shows up like you see over here. I have my different drives on my machine, and then I have my different hubs that I have access to. These are different hubs or Fusion Team sites that are out there that I can weave in and out of and synchronize data with. And within each one of these is a set of folders that emulate what's going on up in the cloud. So if you're wondering, well, how do you work with the cloud? Let this utility do it, and it will support it. Note here that Operating systems are listed below. The browsers, personally I use Chrome, Firefox a lot. It does work with IE and Edge as well. So let's talk about projects. And projects are, I know that's a word that's used an awful lot in different management systems, but the idea of the projects that you have inside of Fusion Team, there are 3 types. First, the open type. This is intended for everybody who's going to collaborate and do work together. This is all internal team members. When you create a project and you set it to be an open type, any member of your Fusion Team hub, so anybody who can get into the site, could go, oh, look at that project, and go right in, join it, and of course they can leave it at any time. So data is, when you go and search, data is searched within that hub, and it's available to all members. Now there's a next step. This is actually the default. When you create a new project, it will default to this. So you log in, it'll create a closed project, and it's intended for more control over the data. That doesn't mean you can't share and play nice, but it means that you can go in and have data in there. If somebody wants to join, you'll get an email, you'll see a little notification that somebody would like to join, and the moderator must approve the members. And you can, there's an option to have contributors join as well, but this is intended for control over data if you don't want everything to be just open to anybody who happens to join or wander into the hub. And then this last one, the secret type, and this is it's a bit vestigial. It's something that's left over from a prior time, but it is nice. So you can't see this unless you're invited to it. So you can't even see it listed unless somebody explicitly says, hey, come join my secret project. And this, it could be sensitive or personal, or it could also be, think if you have suppliers or anybody that's going to be bidding on a job and you didn't want certain vendors, suppliers, distributors seeing other vendors and distributors and suppliers. So it has its place, but those are the 3 types. The default is closed. That's the one that you'll use most often. And again, just a rundown. So if you want to join a project, if you see an open project, actually, if you see one and you click on it and you can see the data in there, that's a clear indication that that's an open project. If you can see a project, you see a folder, you click on it and you get a window that says, would you like to request access? That's a closed. And if you're invited to one and nobody else knows about it, it just might be a secret project. Keep in mind, you can also create one. If you have the right level of permissions, you can create your own secret project. By the way, the administrator of the hub can see all of the other projects, cannot see into it, but can see who's created secret projects. So if you are a CAD admin or the hub administrator, and I'm talking to you, those people that are in charge of the entire site, you can go in. If you see people creating a lot of secret projects, you can ask them, you maybe go and not have all of that. The idea of Fusion Team is it's collaborative. If everybody makes a secret project, that's not very collaborative. So on the security model, and we cover this in the training as well, but there's the hub level role. So there's the team administrator, the team member, and then we have at the very end a project contributor. This is somebody who would have access, and think just a very lightweight read write, somebody to be in the know. That's the least level permission. On the left is the highest level of permission. The team administrator. Now that's of course the owner of the hub and anybody else that you want to promote up to being an administrator. You can have more than one. So as you see here, here's the matrix of what you can do and what you cannot. Now that's at the hub level. Now let's go project by project by project. We have what's known as a viewer, an editor, and the project administrator, basically the project owner. And here's the layout of those people and that level of access. So we have a good permission model to get you started. It's actually not as mature or robust as what you have inside of Vault Pro, but it is something to get you started. Keep in mind that the permission model essentially is project by project by project. So just to give you a rundown, let's see, I've got a few more training slides on it. So the role type at the hub level, we have the team, the owner and the administrator, often the same person. Team member is anybody that you invite in, and a project contributor is also anybody you invite in, but they might be like a read-only type of an access to it. So there are different levels. You can promote people up. You can go into that project by project and say, welcome, you're an editor. Oh, you know what? I don't want you to contribute anything, and you can, take somebody and make them a viewer. Likewise, if they're a viewer and you say, well, I want them to actually add data to it, do some design work, add more information, you could promote them up from being just a viewer to an editor. So there's a little bit of permission that you have within here. As mentioned, the team and the hub owner is the person that is entitled, or the contract owner. You can add more subscriptions to it. This is a bring your own license model. So keep in mind, if you already have a subscription and an entitlement to Fusion Team, you can join another hub and you can be in, and that doesn't actually take away from the license pool. So you can invite more team members at this level and project contributors. The best way to think of this is, who would you invite to like a OneDrive or a Dropbox or a box folder? Think that, but remember, this is so much better than that because it's about design and collaboration, markup, etc. Team members. As a member that's invited, you can browse all projects except the secret ones, remember. You're able to invite if you're allowed by the admin. So there's a question often like, do I want people I invite to invite others? So you can do that, but there's a switch that allows the admin to allow that to happen or not. It depends on the type of data that you have in there, and it depends on how much flexibility you want to give to that. So I mean, a good best practice would be to get your Fusion Team hub going, invite a few people and put it through some testing before you open it up to people outside of your organization. All right, so managing the data that's in. There are links that are provided. There's a variety of different formats. It understands inventor data, AutoCAD data, some of the AutoCAD verticals like Civil 3D, as I mentioned. It understands Revit. It also understands a number of different formats like SolidWorks. We can also upload CATIA, we can upload PTC, so Pro Engineer. There's a variety of, there's actually a entire website of all of the file formats that it understands, it renders out so you can see it. That means if you're working with an organization that is using a variety of different CAD platforms, you can have the models up here and you can view them. So there's a viewer called the large model viewer, so you can view, sort certain assemblies. You can also view neutral file formats as well. When it comes to managing the data, there are a couple of options in a right-click menu. When you see a particular file, you can look at some of the properties. Now, again, it's not the deep indexing that you get with Vault, but it understands some properties that come along with the file at a basic level. You can also retrieve or download. So in the case of CAD data, I would let the desktop connector synchronize that with your machine. But if you have a PDF, a PowerPoint, if you have a Word doc or a spec sheet up there, you can download that right from here. There's also a little bit of functionality in terms of move, copy, delete, rename, your basic functionality that you have inside of CAD. So you can do a number of different things. You have an edit on desktop, which will actually launch the application that is assigned with that file extension on your desktop. And finally, we have a trash or a bin folder. So when you do delete something, it actually goes into a trash folder, and the administrator can go and delete those at a later time or bring that back. Files have versions, and these files, so think of a version as an iteration. You have the ability to version files, and then you can put milestones on versions. And the milestone is a way of saying, well, this is significant. This is where we reached a design or a threshold, or we reached an agreement. And you can have as many milestones on it as you want. There's also the ability to leapfrog or promote versions. So if you go back in time and say, you know what, version 3, that's actually the one we should use, you can promote that, and that'll become the latest. And so it's a very rudimentary versioning and a little bit of control and history that you have with the files that are up there. But keep in mind, it's not a replacement for, at this time, for the full-blown revisioning and release management that you have inside of Vault Pro. As far as desktop connector, it does have a refresh and a pull time of, the default is 10 minutes. There's an offline mode where things go stale, so you can work offline. So if you're working remotely and moving around and you don't have an internet connection, there is an offline mode, and as soon as you get back online, it will synchronize what is down inside of Windows, what's up with what's up inside of Fusion Team. In the tray that's down in your inside of Windows, if you hold down Shift and right click on the menu for the help, there's a diagnostic mode, there's a debugging mode where you can see exactly, well, what is it thinking? Is it synchronizing? Is it stuck? What's going on? So just something I wanted to let you know to help out. So again, administrators, I'm talking to you. Let your design team know if they're going to be using Desktop Connector and Fusion Team. We have that as a functionality that helps you debug and triage and take a look at what's going on. But for the most part, it just runs quietly. It will synchronize with the work and the designs that you do inside of Windows Explorer with what's up inside of Fusion Team. And all you have to do is just log in with your Autodesk ID, the same Autodesk ID that you use to log into Windows, that you use to log into your Fusion Team Hub, the customer success portal where you'll find the training on this, the same Autodesk ID. Makes it really easy. And then one final piece on this. We do have the ability to connect with Vault Professional. Now, specifically, this is a Vault Pro only feature, but the data that's inside of Vault Pro can be shared and synchronized with what's out inside of Fusion Team. What that means is if you get data that's inside of Vault and you get it to a certain design point and you say, all right, it's ready, but I want to synchronize and push this out to the Fusion Team Hub for somebody that's on the outside, somebody that does not have access behind your firewall to your Vault with everything, you can take a certain subset of data and share it with Fusion Team. This functionality it's pretty awesome. It's called Project Sync, and it allows you to pick a folder, some criteria, and exactly when, and it'll share data out of Vault Pro with Fusion Team. Now it's a two-way street if you want. It could be a one-way street. You could just say, well, there's the data, go and good luck with it. And it could be for a customer, it could be for a vendor, or if you have somebody doing design work, like a subcontractor on the outside, they could finish the design, they could finish the drawings, and that'll be pulled back down into Vault. It's configurable. There are classes that are coming up at Autodesk University this year about this, and there's a lot more to say on this, but I just want to leave this here that the marriage of these two worlds is pretty awesome. Vault Pro Fusion Team gives you that the ability to collaborate securely beyond the firewall. And with that, I think that's the end of my slides. Anton, let's go and take a look and see, are there any questions?
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of questions. Before we do that, I wanted to run a quick poll, it's just based on what you learned today. So is there anything that you would like to try or start using? You can select a few solutions that we discussed today, or maybe you already use them or not interested. Just select the options that work the best for you, just as a feedback to us. Just click on the screen and I will keep it open for 10 more seconds. All right, let's close it out. Huge thanks for the feedback. Let me share the results so our speakers can see the level of interest. And you know, it's pretty even between Vault Mobile, Vault and Fusion Team. So there is a lot of interest. So huge thanks for the presentations. And I would like to quickly recap and then jump straight into the Q&A. Let me take the control back to my side. I will make myself a presenter. it's not quite working the way I expected. Am I sharing the screen? No. Hide the polls. Okay, excellent. So let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, excellent. So quick recap. We've got quite a few courses that are available to you using your Autodesk ID. Key takeaways from today's presentation. Please do check Vault Mobile and join the community if you haven't joined Vault feedback community yet. So I just posted the links in the chat. Please check them out. Review the courses developed by Andrew and Brian, and register to the next mechanical engineering meetup if that's something that you are interested in. And we're going to talk about factory design solutions next time. So with that, let's review some of the questions that were related to Brian's presentation or earlier. Brian,
Actually,
are there any questions? Oh, go ahead, Irvin.
Sorry, real quick, on the Vault Mobile and joining the feedback, if you're interested in trying out the Android version, which is currently in pilot testing through the feedback community, once you join the feedback community, please send me an email at irvin.hayes@autodesk.com, and I can get you in the Vault Mobile feedback area to test out the Android version. So just want to throw that in there.
Excellent. Thank you, Irvin. And now we'll drop the email in the chat window as well. So are there any questions, Brian, if you scanned through the list that you would like to address in the 7 minutes that we have left?
7 minutes. Okay. So I see one person says that they bought a Fusion Team license for estimator. That's great, but cannot query the diameter. Depending on the 3D model, there's a lot more questions. I would suggest logging a support call about that, or going to the forum, depending on the 3D model. If you can't query the dimension, it depends on the 3D. Don't know if it's Inventor or it's a CATIA, or depending on the model, you should be able to do that. So sorry you can't. This is again, it's a little bit. We don't want to deep dive in that, but use the tools that we have to ask for support on that, because there is, I mean, there are about 100 different file formats that Fusion Team can read. So it's probably more questions on that. There's a question about push RoHS and RoHS compliance on materials. That's actually, that type of question and functionality would be something for Fusion Lifecycle or PLM product. We have the ability to go through and take a look at the metadata that comes out of Vault, goes into Fusion Lifecycle. We actually have that built into the item and BOMs workspace, where there's a check mark. Is it RoHS or REACH or conflict minerals or any other compliance or industry compliance? So Vault doesn't have that out of the box, but that would be something for a PLM system like Fusion Lifecycle. Let's see, how does Desktop Connector get around checking in large assemblies that may have dirty Inventor file updates? So if a so by the way, dirty, kind of a term for files that have a pending update. What the Desktop Connector does is it waits for the application like Inventor to close. It says, okay, you're done with it, and at that point it synchronizes it with the cloud. So it does work. As far as I know, there aren't any issues with that, but you have to go and make sure that the assemblies are you know, they're complete and everything is resolved. Inside of the tutorial, by the way, I talk about setting up an IPJ, an Inventor project file, just for Fusion Team, just for Desktop Connector and Fusion Team. But keep in mind that it knows to synchronize when the application, not only the file is closed, but the application is closed. So can Fusion projects be changed from closed to open? Yes, you can do that. The default is closed. You can go and move it to open at a later time. Are there plans for Fusion to go mobile? It actually is by nature mobile. It's Fusion Team is completely browser based. So you have the ability to download the Fusion, I think it's called the Fusion 360 app, and you can view the models and everything. It's completely mobile. It was from day one. So can you set the trash to clean out after X number of days? Not as far as I know, but I haven't checked the latest. I don't know that it has that sophistication yet to go and empty out the trash like other systems have. So.
Well, but in this case, again, it's not quite the same, but shared views is another tool that is available in our portfolio that allows to kind of remove the data after 30 days automatically, right? But again, not quite the same, right?
Yeah, great point. You know, that we didn't talk about shared views. Shared views is not sharing the actual intellectual property or metadata, but it is sharing a view. You're right, and it's time based. If you want the just the image, the model of it without giving somebody the actual native file, shared views is a good alternative. By the way, it's something that if you're on subscription, you have a collection, you probably have access to it already. So it might be something that you can use. Can desktop connector be used like a shared network location? If you have a spread out design team, so yes and no. The desktop connector is meant to synchronize with Fusion team. That's the goal. So in that way, yes, if you have a Fusion team hub or site, you can spread out and you can use it as a way to have a centralized location for everything. Shared network location, like in the old days, in the before times, we had like the H drive and everybody had access to the H drive. Well, if you're not on campus, on site anymore, something like Fusion Team can be used for that. But it gets even better because it understands Inventor file relationships, AutoCAD file relationships with XREFs and more. So I guess I'd say it's a broad yes, but there's probably a lot more to unpack there. Let's see, what else? I think that's it for Fusion Team for what's on mine that I can answer. Great questions coming in though. And do we have a link out in the chat for the tutorial on Fusion Team?
Yeah, I did post the link as a part of recap.
Okay.
It's available in the chat window. And again, same story, Autodesk ID, your single destination to check out the permission, because a lot of the things that we spoke about today, it's very likely that you have already got access to them. Just check out your Autodesk account and use the same Autodesk account to access our learning tutorials for free.
All right, I think that's it for me for questions.
Any closing notes or any questions that you would like to highlight based on what you typed in, Andrew or Irvin? Any additional notes?
Well, I'll say one thing and make sure that if you are not already registered, or I think it actually should be registering soon, don't forget AU is coming up and it's all virtual this year. Lots of classes that will be out there and some of them talking about the future of Vault and Inventor, so pay attention to those. I see a lot of questions about things that could be answered in the future as well. Vault has now a public roadmap if you are not familiar with that. I think, did you put that in the chat window yet there?
Yeah, it's in the chat window.
Great, so pay attention to that. There's some information up there along with some videos. But other than that, I think I'm all set.
No, and for me, I would just like to reiterate what Irvin said earlier on about the fact that your feedback is really important. But I've seen quite a few questions saying, oh, it would be good if Vault did this or Vault did that. Well, you have several means to share your needs and your requirements, either through the Vault feedback community or through the idea station on the forum as well.
Yeah, excellent. Great reference, Andrew. And with that, we're at the top of the hour. Quick reminder, just go save what you have in the chat so you can access it later. You'll also get some of this information as a follow-up email. And see you next month at our next meetup and at AU, which is going to be probably the biggest Autodesk university ever. Thank you so much for joining us today, and huge thanks to our speakers today.